hit the go live button, so I'm going to do that now. And I'm officially here live on my end. I can see it on my screen. So we are going to go into this. What's up, everyone? Marc Guberti here, and I'm so grateful for everyone who's joining me in on this live. I will be looking at the chat, just making it a little bigger so I could see your responses this time. Anyone who was there for the first live stream knows what I'm saying, but pretty much in this live stream, you are going to learn some of the strategies you can use to write a book in 2 to 3 weeks. These are the strategies I used to write over 25 books before getting out of college. I do have a separate video where I talk about that, but the reason why you even want to publish so many books in the first place is because self-publishing, the name of the game for making revenue as a self-published author, it's two parts. One is you have a book that's able to get clients for your business. You're able to attract attention that way. Another part is you publish a lot of books that get a lot of incoming sales. So instead of looking at it as this one book that's going to bring the income that you're looking for, think of it as having 10 books that each give you $100 a month, or 30 books that each give you $50 a month. So thinking of it that way, like making them, it's a lot of it is a numbers game, and the more books you have, the easier it is to sell more copies, and it opens the door to all of these returning readers. So how do we get to the point of writing and publishing a brand new book every 2 to 3 weeks? The important thing to start off with is, for a brand new book that you are publishing within this time frame, we are not talking about a very big book. We are talking about a book that is only around 80 to 100 pages, because that is the page length that a lot of readers like. My book, YouTube Decode, is around 80 to 100 pages. And when I bring that to book signing events, people are really happy that it's that small, because it's just easier to pack in a bag, or it's easier to put in a suitcase if it is an event people are traveling to. So that is going to be very vital. 80 to 100 pages. We're talking only around 20,000 words. So knowing your word count goal right away gives you a target rather than guessing the numbers. Like, if you know the numbers, if you know what you have to hit to consider it a finished book, that is going to help you with being able to write a book and publish it every 2 to 3 weeks. So shorter books are better for the reader. They're also better for you to create. Now, just because it's a shorter book, 20,000 words is still a lot of words to go for. And you have a lot of blank pages before you hit that 20,000. So this is where you hear a lot of people talk about figuring out what your book's going to be about, doing a brain dump, so you list all the different things you could possibly cover in that book, and then do an outline where you just organize all of the ideas. Now, I'm going to go a little bit more advanced on this and talk about something what I like to call the Socratic outline. So let's say for a video on Amazon ads, which I have published on my channel, I could talk about, different strategies authors use to sell more books with their Amazon ads. So the way that a Socratic outline works is, rather than just saying, okay, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about, getting the Amazon ads set up in different regions. That's the tactic I cover. I think about the reader and I say, what are the different regions that I am allowed to put my ads on? What are the different ways to optimize an ad? Is there a way to more easily publish the Amazon ads on one dashboard instead of going into each individual one? And I answer all the questions in that video that I'm talking about. But the key thing there is, I am thinking about you as the viewer for that video, just as you should be thinking about your reader and what questions they would have. So, like, growing on YouTube. How do I grow on YouTube? How do I make money from YouTube? How do I do this? How do I do that? And then asking yourself those questions, thinking like the reader, that's just going to give you so much more content to create. So instead of just, like, let's say just having a few different ideas, you have a few different ideas, but you also anticipate questions that people have, which gives you better content. So that's the way that you strengthen an outline, so that it's not just a bunch of ideas in order, but you know how to take it question by question and how it's going to flow. Now, another big thing about saying 20,000 words is that you now get to say, how many words do I have to write each day in order to actually get a book done in 2 to 3 weeks? So 2 weeks, 14 days. 3 weeks, 21 days. And you just divide that by the 20,000 to figure out how many words you have to put out in a given day. Now, it's important to do consistency. Some people, they'll say, do like a batching process where you pick one day to do all of your writing. The problem with that is if you miss your day, then you have to pretty much wait until, hey, Richard, what's up? Thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. I hope you are enjoying all this awesome content. But I mean, when it comes to that idea where you batch, you have the scenario where, if you miss, and that's just a big issue. So what you want to do instead is you can do the batching. Like for my podcast interviews, we'll talk a little bit about how podcasting can help out with this. But for podcasting, I like to batch the interviews on just like 2 to 3 days of the week. So you can still do some batching, but also incorporate that with a daily habit. So what I like to do is I say write 1,000 words each day. That is what I go for. Sometimes I hit 1,000. Sometimes I hit 2,000. Sometimes I even do more than that depending on how good I'm feeling on a given day, combined with the other stuff that's going on in my business. So that is one of the things to think about. What is going to be your daily habit? You can have like that 1 day of the week or 2 days of the week where you just go all out and do as many words as you can. But it is important to have that daily writing habit in place so you are making progress every day. Now, I know that for all of us, we all have the day where it's like, I can't write, I can't do 1,000 words, like I'm tired, I'm done, I got all these different things happening. For people in that situation, I'm going to ask if you just say, can I just? You start the phrase like that and you end with a smaller goal. So instead of looking at 1,000 words per day as this big thing, you say, can I just write 200 words? And by doing that, you get the 200 words in. It's a much smaller goal, but the important thing is that you have progress. So when it comes to a writing session with a word count target, no one ever does exactly 200 words or exactly 1,000 words. You're probably going to get like 210 words, 220 words. You're going to be a few words over because you're just going to be thinking about some different ideas. So we're going to be talking about that a little more. Richard has a question. Best ad strategy for lowering a cost in AMS sponsored ads. So I did do a video on Amazon ads. I would say just look at all your different keywords, see the few ads that are working, and then cut the ones that aren't working and pay attention to those keywords that are working. That is a big part to being successful on Amazon ads. It's a lot of trial and error, having your cover set up, having your description set up, your review set up, that sales page, having that optimized. There are definitely a lot of different things that go into that, and paperbacks are also really good there. I mean, I could go on and on about Amazon ads, but for, again, like that, it goes to Amazon ads. Can I just create one more ad today? Can I just do 200 to 300 words? And again, this idea where you hit 200 words, you're at 210 or 220 because that's what it really is. And then you have that point where I think I could do 100 more words. Can I just do an additional 100 words? So then you're at 300 words, you go up to 400 words, and each time you hit a new milestone, you say, can I just with another 100 words, another 200 words, another even 150 words, and just keep on building and building and building. D, thank you so much for joining us in the chat. I greatly appreciate it. Richard, I'm loving your engagement in the chat. Keep it up. Keep firing the really awesome questions, and I do love it. So thank you guys so much for coming. Can I just? That is one of the most powerful mindsets. It goes for writing books. It goes for marketing books. It goes for just about any different thing that you could possibly be going for when it comes to goals, achievement, and things like that. So another thing to think about when it comes to writing the book is not writing the book. And what I mean by that is using your voice to put out the books. So there's a great resource called otter.ai that allows you to speak your books into existence where, you just talk about a topic. Like we could take this video right now, transcribe it, edit the transcription, and given the rate that I talk, I mean, like a lot of people, we speak at an average of 150 words per minute. A lot of people type at an average of just 40 words per minute. So there's a really big gap there. So, I mean, a 10-minute video for me could easily be 2,000 words. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to type 2,000 words in 10 minutes just with the keypad. So if you are someone who maybe you find it difficult to write the book and you get stuck, try talking it, because it's harder to hit that writer's block. Because when you're talking, you just keep talking. It's easier. Like, there's not as much thinking that goes into the talking. While I think part of the reason that people hit those blocks in writing is because they're thinking about all the different ideas that they have to come up with. They're thinking, how do I go with this sentence next? How do I go from this point to the next point? While talking is more natural, you don't have as much time to think about it, and you just go. So transcribing your books is also a really great option. I do this with video content. You can also do this with audio content. And part of this also goes to the idea of using your free content. So a lot of people, they like to say that, I'm doing so much with writing the books. I don't have the time to blog. I don't have the time to YouTube. I don't have the time to podcast. I don't have time to do any of those things. So what we do in this scenario is, okay, you blog, you YouTube, you podcast, you take all that content, put it together, that's your book. You do some editing and stuff like that to make it flow more like a book, but you can look at your book outline, look at that Socratic questioning like we talked about a little earlier, and say, okay, let me turn this into a blog post. Let me turn this one into a video. And yeah, I mean, there's just so many different ways you could expand with the free content. Richard, I see your comments. Okay, so I see you like the video. Okay, so we'll do a more detailed approach. I can't do this in this live stream, but I will do a future video that goes a little more detailed into Amazon ads. Thank you so much for that suggestion, Richard. But I mean, it just goes to this idea where all this free content you can be repurposing into a book. And if each of your blog posts is 1,000 words long, you only have to write 20 of those to hit 20,000 words. And if you stretch a little bit on each of those blog posts, you need fewer of them to hit your goal. The same goes for YouTube videos. The same goes for podcast episodes. And for YouTube and podcasts, you can use something like Otter.ai to do the transcription. Now, if you are someone who hasn't launched a podcast yet, I will recommend my free training, which you're going to see up there. It's how to launch your podcast in 5 days. We go into all the different types of detail on, what tools to use, what equipment to have, and just being able to deliver that great hosting experience. So the link is definitely down there below. The reason I do recommend podcasting very much is that it's going to allow you to build so many new relationships. It's going to connect you with authors. So not only are you now writing your book, but you're also expanding on the marketing front, because if you transcribe the podcast episodes, you put them in the book, you do some editing so that it flows in the book, you are mentioning someone in your book, which means that person is going to be more likely to promote your book. So it's a great strategy to be building your platform in addition to being able to write your book. So that's why I do have 3 podcasts on my end. It's just such a great strategy for anyone who's interested in just producing more content. But the key for being able to write all these different books is to think of it as a numbers standpoint. Your goal is 20,000 words. How can I get there in 14 days? How can I get there in 21 days? And if you do get there sooner, like I recommend trying to get there in 10 days. So that would be 2,000 words per day. But if you're including blog posts in that, ones that you are going to write now and ones that you have already written. And if you're going to do that for YouTube and podcasting also, that's just going to make it so much easier for you to write those 20,000 words for your book rather than just writing the book, like all unique content, and then just publishing it that way, while you can repurpose and be more strategic about how you organize your existing content. I see a comment from Ronald, And yeah, blog posts into the book and case studies. Case studies are also really good because that gives you more supporting content. So you can, teach. It's one thing to teach someone something, and then it's another thing to say, well, look at this person who made 6 figures or whatever. And that's just going to help with, just that ability to provide more value in your book, do that storytelling, and just provide more value to your community. So Ronald, I definitely appreciate you for sharing that insight, because that repurposing is just going to be so valuable for having that extra edge, being able to write books at a quicker rate. So that is pretty much it for this video. I'm happy to take any questions at this time. And just the idea, it's each day that writing at least 1,000 words each day, using your existing content so that you're not doing the same thing twice, really allows you to grow your brand, really allows you to publish more books. And one book at a time, you're just going to keep on building and building and building, and that is going to lead to your breakthrough. So that wraps up this live stream. We will be doing another live stream next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So I definitely hope to see you guys there. Until then, dream big, achieve greatness, and unlock your potential today.